Hello everyone and welcome to the Transit Nomad family. In this video we will be discussing some of the reasons to avoid Western Europe travel and where to go instead. Before we get started, I'd like to let you know that I am currently in Belgium and I'll be here for a couple of weeks. And at the end of this trip, I'll be recording my final verdict video comparing Belgium with other countries to help you decide if you should visit, while also saving you lots of time and money with practical tips on how to get the most out of your trip. This will be an exclusive video, but you can easily gain access to it by subscribing or donating any amount on buymeacoffee.com/transitnomad or through the link in the video description below. With that being said, let's begin going over some of those reasons that you should consider before deciding whether or not you should travel to Western Europe. Reason number one is the high cost of travel. As you may already know, probably Western Europe is one of the most expensive destinations in the world. This applies to all the countries, including France, Belgium, Germany, Italy, England, Switzerland, and everything around this area is very, very expensive, including food, accommodations, transportation, entertainment, and so on. And because of that, you're going to have to make your trip shorter because it's very difficult to afford all the amenities. You don't get as much value for your money, and this is definitely a big reason for a lot of people. Unless you have unlimited funds, it might not be the best area to travel to for you. Reason number two, because everything is so competitive and so many people from all over the world wants to come specifically to Western Europe, you have to reserve everything as far in advance as you can, preferably a couple of months in advance or even longer, because if you wait until the last moment, everything's going to cost a lot more, or it might not be available at all, because so many people want to come here from all over the world. And by the way, I stopped for 1 second because I want to show you that we are currently in Belgium, which is Western Europe, and this is what I see here in the street in the middle of the city center. So just because you think we are in Western Europe and it's more developed than Eastern Europe, it does not necessarily mean that it's going to be cleaner. Keep that in mind. Now, as we continue discussing the reasons to avoid Western Europe, another thing is because it's so popular and so competitive for people to come here, everything, the quality of services and products that you are buying does not necessarily mean that it's going to be better than in other parts of the world. It's actually usually the opposite, because businesses have so many customers, they don't have enough encouragement to improve the quality of their products or services, because people are going to come and buy it anyway. They don't have enough motivation to make things better. And based on my personal experience in Western Europe, I've experienced a lot of issues, whether it's booking specific seats and getting other seats, or having mediocre service at hotels or restaurants or other kinds of things. The quality of services here is not the best because there are so many customers, and as a business owner, I can kind of understand, I don't approve this strategy, but I can kind of understand why business owners don't feel enough motivation to improve their services, because people are gonna buy it anyway. So it's like, it makes me think of Italy. Their architecture is so beautiful that there is no reason for them to have free toilets or provide free water for people or provide benches for people to sit on, because people are gonna go to Rome and Milan and Venice because it's so famous. They will go there anyway, no matter how bad the environment is, how expensive it is, how uncomfortable it is, how bad the infrastructure is, and you have to pay €2 to use the toilet, you have to wait in a big line, all of that stuff. People are gonna go there anyway, so they don't need to make it better, which is very sad, but unfortunately it is part of life in these kind of destinations that are so famous and so popular. And this brings me to the next point. Because it's so popular and so famous, you are going to have to share your space with a lot of people. Definitely all kinds of people. And there will be a lot of tourists from all over the world. If you want to visit the famous landmarks, museums, destinations, parks, places where everybody else wants to go to, you're going to have to wait in lines. And also, if you want to take photos, you're going to have a lot of people in the back because, well, guess what? Everybody else want to take photos there too. And you have to share your space with a lot of people all the time. If you want to have a little bit more personal space, you should avoid traveling to Western Europe, or at least the most popular destinations within Western Europe, because it is so popular. It's so full of tourists. Right now I'm kind of in the business district where not a lot of tourists are hanging out, so that's why it's kind of slow. And that's why I chose this area to record this video, because I just want to chill. I don't want a bunch of people talking, yelling, crying, listening to music, and then you would have a difficulty hearing me. So I chose this location on purpose. But if I were to walk 10 or 15 minutes to a different part of town, I'm currently in Brussels, you would have such a different view, and the environment would be a lot more hectic, a lot busier, a lot of foreigners and tourists and visitors and locals, and it would be like a melting pot with a lot of entertainment and other things going on at the same time, regardless of which way you look. Now, let's keep going with our list. As I already showed you some trash here and there, I just want to point out that Western Europe is not the cleanest and is not the safest part of the world. Just because it's more famous, or just because it's better known everywhere else and so many people are coming here, it does not necessarily make it more comfortable or safer. In fact, I see more homeless people, more strange looking or strange behaving people in Western Europe than in Central Europe or Eastern Europe. So this is something you need to understand, that you should be prepared for it. You might be approached at train station, you might be approached inside trains, or just in touristy areas. People might be playing some kind of tricks or asking you for money or trying to take advantage of you, or in general just homeless people, or people smelling bad or listening to loud music without headphones, or doing other weird things, just looking at you in a strange way. This is more likely to happen in Western Europe than in Eastern Europe, because I don't know what the reason is, but it's just a fact. It's just a fact. I felt a lot more comfortable hanging out in Budapest than in Paris. Even though Paris is Paris. Everybody thinks Paris is such a cool city, and it is a great city in many ways, but I definitely felt uncomfortable for a considerable portion of my stay in Paris. I felt uncomfortable because of all the strange people around me. Whereas when I was in Bucharest or Budapest, it felt a lot more just peaceful and comfortable, and I felt like everybody was normal, and it was a good environment for hanging out and exploring the city. So I mentioned about the cost of travel. I mentioned about lots of different things, but how about the availability of free toilets? And how about the availability of free water? Most of the time I live in California, and in California it doesn't matter where you go, you're going to have these water fountains at parks, or you can get free water at any kind of restaurant, whether it's a fast food chain or fancier restaurant. There is such a thing as free water everywhere. But that is not the case in Western Europe. Here you have to pay for water. It's very rare that you would see any kind of free water refilling station. And it's also not as common to find free public toilets. Even if you are a paying customer, you just had a meal, you paid for it, you go upstairs or downstairs to use the toilet, chances are you might be charged to use the toilet, even if you have the receipt with you. It's gonna cost €1 per person, sometimes €2 per person, sometimes a little bit less than €1, but you're going to have to pay for it, and regardless of whether you are a customer or not. It's just something that is expected in Western Europe. It's not so much the case in Eastern Europe or Central Europe. It depends on the country, depends on the city. Do your homework, do some research. I do recommend using AI tools, which make it so much easier to research different kinds of things these days, and this makes it a lot faster to prepare for any kind of trip. And speaking of trip prepping, I want to point out that I am a very active traveler. I'm exploring different parts of the world, and I might be able to assist you with trip planning, life coaching, or business consulting, with all the details available at buymeacoffee.com/transitnomad or through the link in the video description below. This is where you can also find lots of exclusive content on many different cities around the world, my helpful secret tips, PDF guides, and the option to request a custom video on any topic that matters to you. Thank you everyone for watching, commenting, liking, and subscribing. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.